Hello everyone, back tuning in to today's second video. We're going to have a look at the Download and Isle of Wight festivals. You can find the link to that here on the home page. It will take you to our festivals and sporting events page for the summer, and you'll be able to see what weather it could be doing for Download and Isle of Wight festivals. It is going to be quite a changeable period, so you'll find out more by having a look at that video. This video is going to have a look at the weather for next week, 10 days. It covers that period anyway. It does look like it's going to be a changeable start to June. I've spoken about this over the past few videos. We're in for quite an unsettled opening week to 10 days of June. I think that is quite certain. How long it goes on for is going to be the next interest point. Of course, how unsettled it happens to get. Actually, we'll have Terry Scully's June forecast this evening, so you'll be able to see what Terry is predicting for June, how long this unsettled weather might go on for this evening. I'm going to start off with Central England temperature. Now, I haven't got the full stats in from the UK Met Office yet for either May or for the spring, but I can tell you it has been the warmest spring on record. You'll be hearing a lot about this over the next day or so on the news and in the papers. So we've beaten the last warmest spring, which was only back in 2011, and come out with the warmest spring on record for 2017. We're still waiting for the full stats to appear at the UK Met Office website. When they do, we'll be able to evaluate the Gasworthy's spring forecast. Now, I've got the CET in for May. So the CET for May came out at 13.2 degrees. It was a very warm month indeed. The last time we had a May CET as warm as this was back in 2008. Look at that, 13.4. Actually a little bit warmer by 0.2 of a degree. Compared to May 2017. That was followed by a very poor summer, by the way, so the temperatures weren't too bad. They held up reasonably close to average in July and August of 2008, but the main thing was very wet summer and quite dull and dismal. Before that, we have to go back to 1998 to find the CET for May in the 13s. That comes out at 13.1. That's another really warm May that's followed by quite a poor summer. So June 1998 wasn't too bad, but July and August were really very poor indeed. How much further do we have to go back? Well, we go back to 1992. That comes out with a May CET of 13.6, followed by a very warm June. But then things deteriorated in the second half of the summer, so we finished up with quite a poor August. You're probably getting the idea that these warm Mays tend to be followed by fairly poor summers. However, the next one, 1989, comes out with a May CET of 13.0, and that one is followed by a hot summer. So we get to June at 14.6 and July at 18.2. So you don't have to go that far back in history to find a really warm May being followed by a hot summer. I'm not sure whichever way this summer works out. It might be a poor summer, it might be a very warm summer. Whichever way it works out, I'm not sure that May alone will have all that much impact on what happens this summer. If it goes one way or the other, it will probably be through random chance rather than anything to do with weather patterns that have occurred in May. But certainly it's been the warmest May central temperature for 9 years, so quite interesting how that has happened. Right, just have a look at the weather next week to 10 days then. So we've got the ECMWF here on the top, GFS is on the bottom. These are the 500 millibar flow charts, of course, for the next week to 10 days. Blue is extrapolating to low pressure, red is extrapolating to high pressure, and these take us to around the 10th of June, so through the first 10 days of the month. The ECMWF is placing a trough of below average heights out to our west. We've got a ridge over to the east and to the northeast. That will be bringing up hot temperatures into central and eastern parts of Europe. But for us, we're under this trough, really, so it looks quite changeable and probably on the coolest side as well. The GFS is very similar. The only difference is that it's even deeper with the trough. So this really is a very deep trough that's sitting around to the north of the UK. Deep area of low pressure with a strong jet stream coming through and to the south of the country as well. So it just really means, it's the same sort of idea in terms of pattern, it just really means that the GFS is even more unsettled than the first week to 10 days compared to the ECMWF. But they are both in a similar place really, which is unsettled and bands of rain coming in off the Atlantic. These are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next 2 weeks. The red line here is the 30-year temperature average. So warm an average at the moment, going down to around or maybe a little bit below average into the weekend. And then next week, we've still got all this scatter. It looks like overall the temperatures are turning quite warm next week. But you'll notice there are several members of the GFS ensembles that are still looking really quite hot indeed. Several members through the second week of June that are actually significantly cooler. So this period just here really is very uncertain. In terms of precipitation, we are gradually, by the look of it, going to increase rainfall. So a lot of dry weather through the weekend, really, a few showery bursts, but nothing overly wet coming up into the weekend. And then next week it looks like we unleash the Atlantic with some quite big rainfall spikes. Bear in mind that's about a week away, so it's possible the model is going over top with that signal, but it does look quite an unsettled spell setting up, I think, through the course of next week. Temperature anomalies are coming out generally around or maybe even ever so slightly below average from the 1st through to the 9th of June. And precipitation is generally a little bit above average. So it is trending more unsettled. Looks like we're going to have above average rainfall through most parts of the country through the course of next week. Here's how the GFS is looking for Monday then. Low pressure is heading in off the Atlantic. That's bringing probably a band of showery rain in from the west. Into Tuesday, we've got a little bit of a transient ridge building there for Tuesday, although more low pressure is downstream in the Atlantic, and that heads in on Wednesday, possibly bringing a spell of wet and windy weather, particularly to the north and to the west. Into Thursday, 8th of June, which is, of course, a week away, and it's general election day. It looks unsettled. I would suspect there'll be showers, if not longer, spells of rain for the general election, and also for the start of the two festivals, Download and Isle of Wight. Friday the 9th of June, again, we're looking quite showery. There's a bit of a trough within the 500, a bit of our flow. And then into weekend of Saturday the 10th and Sunday the 11th. Well, look at that. We get this area of low pressure developing out to the west on Saturday the 10th. That winds itself up by Sunday the 11th into quite a major feature. That's bringing heavy rain, potentially some gale force winds across the country. It's 10 days away, so it's not really worth getting worked up about, but excuse me, but it does look a little bit on the alarming side. That one particularly for anybody that's up those two festivals in Donington and the Isle of Wight. Moving through to the east end, we have again showery and quite cool for the start of next week and staying unsettled really through the week. This is Thursday the 8th of June when we are unsettled. We've got low pressure out to our west, trying to build this ridge up across Central Europe. So we are trying to drag up some slightly warmer air there from the south for Thursday the 8th. That's very quickly got rid of as this trough moves in from the Atlantic, brings the cooler air back. And also it is still unsettled with showers or longer spells of rain there through to the end of next week. And then we run up to day 10, and it looks like it's staying unsettled as well. Low pressure remains to our west, possibly again trying to build a bit of a ridge up to the east. Notice this ridge over Scandinavia, that's trying to get going. So possibly this low pressure in the Atlantic is starting to be blocked a little bit. If that was to move down in that direction, it's possible we would start to build these ridges up to the east and the northeast. But essentially, up to day 10, I think both of these models are seen from the same hymn sheet. The first week to 10 days, we've spoken about it in the videos recently, the first week to 10 days of June is going to be unsettled, and it will be a case of seeing where things go after that. And talking about that, of course, as I said, Toscano will be issuing his June forecast at website later on today, so come back for that. Don't forget to, if you're interested in the weather for the Download and Isle of Wight festivals, don't forget to check out the video that we did about those events earlier on today. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.